They got poop all over the hive. The hive has had an open bottom board, open screen bottom board all winter. It's had sometimes it's sort of closed, but mostly it's open. It's got a bottom entrance with a mouse guard on it, which I took the mouse guard off now. And it's 4 mediums deep, or 4 mediums high, I should say. I didn't harvest any honey from it last year. I didn't give it any syrup. So I'm hoping that once the bees are flying and they're bringing in natural pollen and the brood is building up on its own, that I'll be able to take all the honey that was left behind from last year, or at least most of it. Other than northern flickers pecking at it, you can see some of the holes that the northern flickers pecked at. It's been pretty good. But yeah, northern flickers they were hungry. I don't know how long ago it was, probably 6 weeks or so ago, maybe 2 months. I honestly don't remember. But they all showed up, and the northern flickers and even the little chickadees, they all started pecking on the hive. And the northern flicker is it's a woodpecker, and within one peck it could get right into the hive. So this is my first poly hive, my first time testing it out. My feeling is that it's perfect for the cold climate of eastern Newfoundland where the bees are close to the ocean, which is what I've got. I have no interest at all in all the shenanigans that's involved with overwintering hives. Namely, I don't want to put insulation on, I don't want to be wrapping them, and how much effort we put into just keeping them alive over the winter, I think is a testament to the fact that they really don't belong here. This isn't natural for them. If it was natural, they'd be dead. I gave them some pollen supplement a little while ago. Anyway, that's what I'm checking on. But other than that, I haven't done anything special for these bees. And normally in the wintertime, I'm very concerned about everything that happens in the hive because inevitably there's going to be some sort of moisture buildup or something like that. There's always something going on in the wintertime and when it happens, it's catastrophic, right? Or can be. So let's see what happens here. Okay, I can see that that pollen right here. They're reacting to me lifting this up for sure. Let me see if I can just do this without getting stung. I have no protective gear at all right now. And so far, famous last words here, but these bees, since they've been in this hive, have been the super chillest bees I've ever worked with. They just don't react to the normal. Oh, I can smell honey. I'm smelling maybe a little bit of. Oh, look at that! So this pollen is done. It's a homemade pollen patty, and I can see it's all dried up. So I may not have put enough moisture or enough syrup in there. Anyway, that's it. I don't want to let out too much heat. Don't want to get too excited. I don't want to get drawn into the novelty of it, which is what we do. And as beekeepers, we just find something and we look at it and go, "Yeah, that makes sense." And then you actually do it and you realize, "Oh, geez, no, it doesn't make sense. It's a lot harder than it looks." It makes sense under ideal conditions or certain conditions, but not necessarily your conditions. And here comes the snow. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just getting excited about nothing. But everything that I know about these poly hives tells me that they're a perfect fit for our winters and our summers, because our summers are garbage too. I gotta say though, like if I hadn't done something about this northern flicker, it would have destroyed this hive if I hadn't taken action. And the action I took was to set up a bird feeder with suet away from the hives, and it attracts the birds to a different area, so they just sort of forget about the hive, and it worked. I think I paid, I think it was like $40 per super, something like that. which is not cheap for most hobbyist beekeepers. And I'm not sure how well this would work in a commercial operation, but it's definitely works for me.